Welcome to the I Ain't Even Lyin podcast. Yes, this is part 2, and yes, we're in the same clothes. We didn't change because it's the same day, so don't be alarmed.
Yeah.
We do value clean clothes and taking showers, so we are just filming the next episode because we had so much to talk about in the first episode or episode 3. Now we're in episode 4, and just so much to fit in one episode, and so that's why we moved it to be episode number 4. It's because we wanted to carry it on and keep talking because we have some really good stories that we want to hit. So we just got through talking about in the last episode about Pawpaw killing the big buck. Yeah. And then we kind of talked about what was the last story we had just hit before then?
I don't remember now.
Well, we got another. We're gonna jump into fishing because one thing about Pawpaw, he kills a lot of deer. But one thing is this man. Y'all talk about going fishing and fly fishing. So we told the story. I don't know if we told that story or cut that episode out because we had to restart due to a difficulty. But I remember the coffee story. I don't know if we told that or not.
I don't know.
Tell it again.
Okay, yeah. So I drink black coffee. And people go, well, how did you start drinking black coffee? I said, well, my dad would carry me fly fishing and looking for shellcracker beds in Deer Point Lake. And so he would carry me and we'd go and he'd buy me a cold drink and maybe a candy bar or a honey bun. And we'd get in the boat and, you know, have the twist off lids back then. You just had a can, you know, or a pop top on a Coke. Well, we're sitting in the boat and so I'll drink that drink down. Well, we liable to stay there till 1 or 2 in the morning. Now, you know, one of the things too I learned too that I tell my kids all the time, told Johnny this the other day, is you would say, get you a shirt. It'd be summertime. Bring you a long sleeve shirt. And so it's going to get cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I've done that to you too, Tommy. Like, bring you a long sleeve shirt. Bring you a little small jacket. It's summertime. I don't know. No, just bring it. And so a lot of times I'd drink that drink, eat my candy bar, and it'd be 2 or 3 hours. And I'd look at Dad and go, hey, Dad, I'm thirsty. I ain't got no more drink. He'd say, well, you can just take your can and get you some pond water out of Deer Point. Or you can have some of this black coffee with me. So I'd take the cap off the top of the thermos and I'd pour it in there. And I learned to drink black coffee because I didn't want to drink none of off-colored Deer Point Lake water, you know, in my can. So that's how I drank black coffee, and now I drink it.
I did think about something the other day because I do know that story. Was that a wise move on your part, you think, to let you boys drink your coffee? Because then honestly, there's probably a chance you run out of coffee if they like it. You took a pretty big chance there.
Well, I did ration it a little bit. I didn't give them full cups.
I think he poured it. He said, here, here's something.
Yeah.
That'll wet your whistle.
Well, so you get a little bit of that pond water, just kind of dilute it down a little bit.
Yeah, probably could have done that.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, we would go. It was really good. But fly fishing.
So how long would you stay out?
Well, I used to tell people I'm going to stay till they start biting, and I'm not going to leave them that way.
So last night you told me.
I have seen the sun come up in Deer Point Lake.
Oh, yeah. I have too. But now a lot of times, though, I wouldn't see it till he woke me back up. Yeah. And many times I would be, where would I be asleep, Dad?
He'd be asleep in the bottom of the boat. I had some cushions, and he'd lay down on them, and I kept a blanket.
Or that jacket, or that shirt he'd lay across me.
Lay across him, and sometimes when we get back to the landing, he'd still be asleep. I'd load the boat. I'd reach over and pick him up, put him in the seat of the truck, and we'd come on home.
Yeah. Man. So you got any stories of, so tell us a story about fly fishing. I know you got some.
Well, I've caught, I feel like my share out of Deer Point, and most of it was at night. I had one man that he just kept aggravating me about telling him where I was catching the fish. And I never did, but I've had him to follow me up Freshwater Cutoff, and I had a place where my boat just would get through into a little cove, and he tried to come through that same little old place, and his boat was too big. And so when I get back to the landing, I had about 35, 40 fish, and And he asked me where I went. And I told him. And he said, well, I couldn't get through there where you were at. I said, I know. I didn't want you where I was at.
Well, hey, and it reminds me, remember the fiberglass boat you had made? How big? The small one?
10-foot
10
fiberglass
foot.
bathtub.
And so that was a convenient boat. But what caused you to get rid of that boat?
We had some bad weather.
Well, and two, wasn't it? Didn't you see a bunch of eyes one night?
Oh, yeah, that was one night. I went up Klein's cutoff, and then I come back and went up freshwater cutoff. And not to exaggerate, but I counted over 100 alligators that night.
And that little 10-foot boat.
That little 10-foot boat. And I said, I better get me a little bigger boat than that.
Kind of like they said on Jaws, we're going to have a bigger boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those days, yeah. But that was a nice boat. Now, one of the things, too, Dad would, and he taught us this, and it's a lost art, is sculling a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no trolling motor needed, and he had that little 10-foot boat. You could move along with that.
A lot of people don't know what sculling a boat is, and it's a very simple thing. And the way I taught my boys, I had a bench seat in the back of my boat, and I would put them in front of me, and I'd start sculling that boat, and I'd tell them, put your hand on top of my hand, and they would get the movement of that paddle, and they learned how to scull a boat, and they can do it to this day.
Man.
Tommy, can you scull a boat?
Dad showed me how to scull a boat. He ended up buying a sculling paddle. I don't remember who you bought it from.
Yeah, I think
you
I
got
bought
it. Wall.
Yeah, I bought it somewhere, but I mean, you couldn't hardly find a sculling paddle.
Right.
But no, you showed me how to run that sculling paddle. So but of course, we didn't have a. I don't know if y'all use a sculling notch. Is there notch? We didn't have one of them, but we did. But I kind of got where I could run it without the notch, but not very good. I'm sure it's better.
Yeah, but we had some of them tighten on sculling notches.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of. Hold on one second. I got to turn this fan down just a little bit. I can cut that out.
You start getting cold or something?
No, I can subtly hear it just a little bit, So, so you did a lot of fishing. So, what's the most fish you've ever caught in one night? Maybe with somebody. The most fish
at night. About 45 is the most at night. Fishing shellcracker beds up there with good friends like Bill Ronk and his wife.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, we caught 100 shellcracker one night. And
Who cleaned them?
well, you can give fish away if they're cleaned. It's hard to give away a fish that's not clean.
Yeah.
What's that? So, Hayden, Alabama podcast. They said had the
plow dirt.
brother No Blink, the plow dirt. He talks about that story about whenever he said he had some dress fish, and these old boys wanted some dress fish. And he said, well, you can't have my dress
you
fish.
get my dress
and he
fish.
said, then the boys want to get the plow dirt, which I didn't know what that was till I watched it. But yeah, sure enough, dude, that cracked me up so much. So,
a lot of times, we got a picture. We may show this picture that where I'm standing up. Now they caught them. I'm holding them up out of the ice chest, and they're just still in the ice chest. There's probably 100 or something on that stringer.
that's almost too much to clean. I'd have to start slinging something.
It's hard to quit catching though.
Well, I went to catching's fun. Catching's fun, and so me and Chase went fly fishing. It was last year. We were hitting it and stayed out late. And I hit it a couple of times, and honestly, it was a lot of fun. And you'd sling that fly right up under and just land it right up underneath the docks, and you'd wait and you hear that, and you just snatch it in, pull it in, and you just find a good hot dock.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that people's been really taking the time and invest the money to
when
feed
they
the
feed
fish.
yeah.
And those are the ones you want to be at. So we'd sling it up there, wait till the mayflies are coming out. I remember the mayflies that night were so thick, you couldn't even walk at the porta potties because the porta potties had a light on them.
Yeah, the landing.
And they were just like, it was like a sheet of mayflies.
Yeah.
And so... And which is kind of interesting. Mayflies don't even come out in May. It's like more like April, June.
June. End of May, 1st of June.
So, but I remember we were out there and we caught about 20, 30. And I was like, man, that was a good night. That was a good night of fishing. And he said, yeah, man, that was good. So we're getting back. Okay, so how are we going to divvy up the fish? I said, maybe I take 10 or 15, 20, you take 15, 20, be good. You got a cooler? Oh, man, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I appreciate you coming, and for you bringing me, I just let you keep the fish.
So he just didn't want to clean them.
I was like, you're so kind. Thank you for being so generous. And the next day, I was out there filleting fish. And I was like, but I'll tell you, and maybe it's just me, and maybe it's because fishing is not my number one.
Yeah.
I like to do it. I'm just a big hunter, and that's what I love to do. And so, but I don't know if it's because it's just not my number one, but I was out there cleaning. And when you clean one mess of fish by yourself, you're fixed on fishing for at least a little while because it's going to be a minute before I'm going to want to go back and clean another set. But especially because, we're at the Panhandle, so some people will, if you go on a deep sea fish and catch some groupers, some snapper, that's a lot of cleaning too.
Fishing, either way.
That's a lot. So, but now to segue, I want to segue over into the story that I want to talk about the Florida State record. Mullet. Now it's unofficial, right? Do we ever get it officially?
At one time, it was bigger than the state record.
Y'all put it in?
No, it wasn't.
Well, it's not a game. Mullet's not a game fish, so they didn't keep records. But I had a friend at that time that was a Marine Patrol, which later on they joined FWC, and so they made one unit out of it. But he asked me, could he take that fish and just get a certified weight on it? And so he did, and he brought it back. And long story short, we had it mounted, and at that time was the largest mullet had been caught in Florida, and it weighed a little over 11 pounds. And a lot of people say mullet don't get that big, but they did. And we have pictures of it. We have the mullet.
Yeah, I'm going to hold the fish up right here.
Okay, hold on a second. So Florida does keep it. Do we know what the actual weight of the fish was?
11 pounds.
11 pounds.
Do we know the ounces on it?
No, not necessarily.
No. Okay, so the Florida State record for mullet is 11 pounds, 9.6 ounces. So this fish is still could be or as competitive.
Or that may be the fish. I don't know.
This may
Y'all
be.
Look here. This is amount of the 11 pounder. Unbelievable mullet. Now, you mullet fishermen throwing a cast net, you catch a cast net slam full of these right here, they're going to tear your net up.
When did you catch this fish?
So, tell them what year it was, Dan.
1978.
So this was easily at one time, if not currently, unofficial, but back then this was officially the state record for the state of Florida on mullet. So is there? Tell me, can I get a story on the mullet?
Yeah, just go through this.
What we call a honey hole.
Mm-hmm. And, can't tell where all the honey holes are.
No.
It's I can tell you it's in North Bay.
Okay. People's going to be all over North Bay.
And they'll be all over North Bay. Same way the people in Tallahassee were trying to find out where it came from. And the lady that called me from Tallahassee said, can you tell me where it was caught? And so I told her North Bay, and she said, that's a big bay. Can you get closer? I said, well, you can see the old airport from it.
Yeah. So some of y'all that aren't from here, if we're in a different state, we're talking about close to Panama City.
Yeah.
So the bay comes in. There's several bays that
you didn't have to tell them that.
Well,
we're narrowing it down. You might as well just point out the spot.
Nah, he's good. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
But anyway, after giving her 2 or 3 different locations like that, she said, you're just not going to tell me. I said, I'll tell you, it's in a honey hole.
There you go.
And so that's where we caught. They were landlocked. And that particular night, we were able to get into this place. And we had 14 mullet that weighed 91 pounds.
And now one of the red row off one of them 9-pounders, how much it weighed?
Weighed a little over 2 pounds.
Yeah. So
14 mullet. 91 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to throw a cast net.
Now,
but
me and Michael were because they were landlocked in a smaller spot, me and Michael were gigging them.
So like you'd say like,
And Daddy was throwing a
kind of
cast
like
net.
whenever like the water goes out, you'll have some of those backwater.
Yeah, that's what it was. And a lot of times,
canals.
Right.
sandbars make, depending on rain or whatever.
Some of the best redfish is when the water goes out and those redfish have stuck back in those back canals like that. That man has some fun
Now,
fishing.
the interesting thing is these fish should have been out in the Gulf, right?
Right.
And what time of year was it? January?
February.
February.
And my understanding from the old time mullet fishermen that mullet go to the Gulf to row out, and I didn't understand that. I guess they lay their eggs out there somewhere, and when they hatch out, they come back to the bays. I don't know.
Yeah. But now the interesting thing was that these were these mullet, we got a picture of them, and we'll try to get them on here. But we were there. Daddy was throwing the cast net. It was so cold that the water, a lot of y'all that throw a cast net will know this, but on the webbing, get the little piece of water bubbles or whatever on between the webbing, you'd have to shake because it'd freeze.
It would freeze. And
you'd have to shake the ice out of your cast net. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he was, but yeah, that was
loving it.
91 pounds of
14
fish.
mullet. Yeah, that don't happen.
That's crazy. So all you mullet fishermen out there, y'all about to go on the biggest search for the honey hole. Y'all gonna be fishing every backwater canal that you can find, and every bit of water that goes out, you're gonna be finding every puddle, just throwing a cast net in it. But man, that's so good. So y'all seen it here, the state record at one time. If not, it could possibly still hold it. I wish we still had the full official weights on that.
Right.
But that's so cool, man. I love hearing those stories, and the fact that you're gigging. I don't even know that.
Well,
I have a hard time gigging something that ain't moving like a flounder. I much less have I don't even know about gigging. Were they sitting still?
Well, they were just swimming. It was
real slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you
was
could
cold.
just wait, and they just as they make their pass, you just make you strike.
There was hundreds in there.
Yeah. Well,
You ever eat a mullet gizzard?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. They're good.
Are they
Mullet
good?
gizzards are good.
They taste like chicken gizzards.
A little bit. They got same texture.
Yeah.
A little bit fishy.
Yeah.
Just a little fishy. But that's fine. If you could just buy mullet gizzards, that'd probably be about $200 plate. But
How big you think a mullet gizzard is?
well, I mean, some of them out of them fish is probably about this big around, about like a coot
About like
gizzard.
that big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, coot. Ugh, don't even get me on a coot.
A coot.
I don't
coot
eat.
gizzard's huge.
You ever ate coot before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the gizzards.
They good?
They got a big gizzard. They're fishy.
Yeah.
Fishier than a mullet?
Probably so.
Yeah.
No, I'll pass on that. I'll eat a gizzard, but I have a hard time. But you're also a man that eats livers. I can't do a liver. But that's not. I mean, but Pastor likes eating. Like I know people eat liver and onions and all that stuff. That's just. They were talking about Jonathan. Pastor's brother. He likes livers.
Yeah, I ain't even know all that either. Daddy likes
I
liver.
do a liver.
So,
Anyway, so let's so I do I have a story that it's a little off topic from fishing. What I want to I've been wanting to hear this story. It's been a minute since I heard it, and I think people would like to hear it. So there's two stories that come to mind. I was thinking about this morning as I was coming over here, and one of them is you ever been sand skiing before on a dirt road or?
So yeah, so we were me and my brother Michael. Daddy had a Datsun pickup truck. So Daddy, now you got to keep in mind a lot of the roads in Lynn Haven back then were dirt roads. So we turned on the Arkansas Avenue.
So Old Town Lynn Haven wasn't old then; it was just Lynn Haven.
There was a lot of dirt roads. It was still
Was
the
that
same
Roberts
roads.
Hall? Was that still
That
still
Lloyd's
in
Country.
operation?
That was back when it was Lloyd's Country.
So
Store.
it wasn't like historic Lynn Haven. That was just town.
Right. I mean, old man Lloyd and his wife, they had a country store. They had cold drinks that you'd pick them up out of the water back when it was water that they set in. And they'd sell all kind of old cheap stuff. It may have been coming from the United States then, but it was the same stuff you get from China now, just old toys and stuff.
Yeah.
So we were there, and Daddy, we were going to our house on Arkansas Avenue. Mm-hmm. So we used to go to my grandpa's farm, and he would carry us to Turnip Seed Pond, and we would hold on to the back of the truck. He'd let us do it, and so we decided we would hold on to the back of Daddy's truck, but he didn't know we were skiing behind him.
So y'all climb out of the.
We just tailgate was down. Back then you didn't have to sit with a seatbelt. You could ride in the back of the truck. So the tailgate was down, and so we just riding in the back of the truck. And so Michael gets back there and starts skiing like when we first turn on the Arkansas.
Because that's dirt road.
Yeah, and so he starts skiing behind the truck, crawls back up in there. Now I'm 2 years younger than him and a little smaller, and I was about probably 7, 8 years old, you know, and I start skiing behind there too. And so Daddy's hitting fourth then, you know what I'm saying, or third, and and so I'm not skiing anymore. My feet are dragging behind me. I'm just dragging. So Michael's holding on to me, and I just see it now. He's trying to grab me and pull me into the truck, and my feet are just dragging behind me. And finally I said, "It's all right, Michael. Just let me go."
Just let go.
So he let me go, and I started flipping down the road. And so it probably would have broke me all up if I wouldn't have got up and shook it off. But there was a dude down there. I'll never forget, some dude named T-Sock or something used to live right down there. I didn't ever know him, but he starts running out. Of course, the truck's stopping. They coming to get me. And I still got the watch that I was wearing that day, and the crystal, the glass on top of it, is skint.
Really?
It's skint. I mean, I slid down there. I mean, it's a wonder it didn't mess me up.
That's crazy.
But I got in trouble over it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have got out of the back of the truck. But
well, that's true. That's not a,
so
he wasn't wrong in telling you that.
well, the kid runs out to try to help, and so I see him coming, and so I get off, start running from him. I start running toward the truck, you know. So it was. But you don't want to ski behind the truck unless the person. Always ski with someone watching the person skiing. Isn't that how they do on boats?
Yeah.
Right? Never
have a
go.
spotter.
So didn't have a spotter.
Yeah.
So except for Michael. So that's what it was.
We got to take a quick break for a sponsor, and then we'll be right back. So here is we're going to get a quick sponsor in, and then we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. And so here we go. Today's sponsor is Coastal Lumber and Cabinetry. We love those guys. They got a good thing going on over there off Highway 231, that lumber yard. I actually got a comment this week on my sponsor from 2 weeks ago. Said I was a little rough on Home Depot and Lowe's, but I ain't gonna lie, when the lumber's that good and it's that good of quality, it's hard not to be hard on Home Depot and Lowe's.
That's right.
So, Pawpaw, you've been by there, and so I don't want people to just take my word for it. So they got some pretty good stuff going on over there.
Probably as good of treated lumber as I've ever seen. Really, a lot of depth on it. They're good Christian people. They're running a godly business, and if you have a chance to go by there, I would highly recommend it. I did not see any bad lumber, even fence pickets.
Yeah.
You know, most of the time you're going to see some that's curled up.
Yeah.
Look like an S.
That's right.
But all the lumber looked real good.
Yeah.
Man, that's so awesome. Well, and they got some good cabinets. You went to look for cabinets.
Yeah. Finish on those cabinets, I was amazed.
Yeah.
At a good smooth finish. The joints, you know, and it's all wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't find that in a lot of places.
Yeah. It's coming from a guy who is one of the to me that I've ever seen, is one of the most meticulous people with their projects that I know. And so if he's saying that about their cabinetry and the lumber, that you want to check it out. It's definitely something to go look at. Our friends over at Coastal Lumber and Cabinetry, go check them out. Highway 231. The information will be up on the screen, so make sure to screenshot that, take a picture, go check them out. Tell them that you heard about them on the I Ain't Even Lyin podcast, and they'll greet you with a smile. They're happy to help, and some really good friends of ours. So go check them out. Again, Coastal Lumber and Cabinetry. All right, and now time to get back to the podcast. And we are back. We are so glad to have Ricky and Drew Robbins with Coastal Lumber and Cabinetry to want to sponsor the show. Actually, we're working something out right now behind the scenes. We're not going to reveal that today. It's going to take a little bit of work on all of our part to be able to make it come to fruition. But we have a giveaway coming up, and I'm not going to tell you
Christmas. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Yes.
But listen, you're going to want to get involved in this.
Yes.
So keep your eyes out, keep your ears open, listen in on the podcast for us to announce it. You don't want to miss any of the episodes, because we may just reveal it in the next episode, or two, or maybe by the end of this episode. So don't leave us yet. You might hear some information. So we got a giveaway coming up, so you don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
But time to jump back into a story. And we were kind of talking about one that we want to hit, and I kind of want to know about this. Anybody ever tied a deer up on on to a tree, or is that just a us thing?
It may be just me doing it.
Oh,
I don't know.
I've never done it, and maybe just you.
Daddy, you done it?
Nope.
Oh my
This
goodness.
is yours.
Oh, okay. So there's several of us from church going on this hunting trip. Six of us. Seven. Okay. So we're going on this hunting trip. Daddy has this conversion van. So if you're ever going on a hunting trip, it's nice to have a van to where everybody can ride together. And now I'm the youngest guy on this trip. I felt very blessed to go. And so we're headed out. And, you know, I've hunted some and killed a few deer, but this was just listening to these older men tell stories. I mean, it was just unbelievable on the way up there. I mean, the fun thing about fellowshipping with other people is the stories. It kind of jives you up, like it fires you up, gets your battery charged up to go kill a buck. Now we're going to North Carolina, never hunted this place before. And so, but we got on the stories of, yeah, I tell you what, I shot one time, and he got up and run off. Somebody else got to tell him one that run off. And Roy Rogers told us of one. He said, yeah, we shot one time running dogs. We drug him 600 yards across the field. Got him all the way near about to the truck, had a ditch to go across, so we let his horns go and let him sit there. We was getting a breath because just a long drag. You know? He said, and all of a sudden he jumps up and runs off. We take the dogs and dog him and ran him the rest of the afternoon and never killed him. So those kind of things run through your mind, like, man, I want to make sure I get one shot good. Yeah. I don't want him to get up and run off.
Yeah.
So we're down there hunting. And so, you know, a lot of times you don't know some of these places, so they'll say, okay, follow these little tacks on the trees to get. So I had some doe in heat that somebody killed a doe, and I saved the pee off of them, put cotton balls in a little bag, and, you know, it's real stuff off of a real deer. And so I put it around the tree. Well, first off, I couldn't find the tree stand. The little tack stopped, and I'm going, well, where's the stand? There wasn't one. So I was right against a little creek, and I'm sitting there. And just all of a sudden I was sitting there, the daylight comes, and it was really, really potent stuff, evidently, because I heard something coming, and I looked, and it was just, I mean, it wasn't even good daylight. It probably wasn't even legal light, you know. So I'm sitting there and hear something coming. You're on the ground. You want to see if some booger or what it is. And so like 10 feet away, I'm thinking, there's a doe. And so I raised my gun up, and I'm thinking, well, you know, because you can shoot does there. I thought, I'm just going to barrel shoot this thing. So yeah. I'm pulling the trigger, and I look, and this brand new rifle my wife bought was a 270 7400, which always, you know, they've been known to jam.
Jam-O-Matic 3000.
So I what it was, I didn't jack the shell in good enough. It was a brand new gun. So I jacked that shell out. Well, that deer turned and run off and run down the edge of that creek and turned up about 50 yards, and I shot him. He fell down right there and didn't realize later.
That was a doe.
It was a spike later on. I thought it was
fell right there?
Oh, it fell right
Boom.
there.
Ooh.
There's proof.
Yeah.
Spike.
Last episode, remember, last episode we talked, if you're shooting a doe and it hits the ground, it ain't a doe. It's a male.
Yeah,
it's a buck.
It just fell down.
It's a spike.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, well, this is cool. So I'm good, you know. I made sure the receiver's closed. I kind of sat back, and the wind's kind of blowing out the north a little bit, kind of getting a little, you know, sun's coming on up good. Probably 30 minutes later, I hear bloop, bloop, bloop. I'm thinking, what in the world is those drops? And so I slid around and started focusing behind me. This little bloops I heard about 30, 40 yards away, 35 yards. I look and finally see what it is, and it's a big 8-point.
Yeah.
Coming through that creek, smelling that doe in heat that I'd saved off that doe. I'm talking about dudes coming right there to me. Now, I'm thinking, well, I ain't worried about him smelling me, because I had about 8 cotton balls around me there. And so I got to looking, and I thought, well, where am I going to shoot him? I mean, he's a fine one.
Yeah.
Thing weighed 200 pounds. So I got to watching him, and I thought, well, maybe look the path he's coming. He's going to come by that opening right over there. Well, then I got to look, and I thought, well, good night, man. I could shoot him right there where he's at. Now, Tim Meyer and me, you talked about that on social media. Hey, if you got a hole, take the shot.
Yeah.
you know. And I got to looking, man, I had a good broadside, half of his body. He's standing there broadside. And so I raised that 270 up and pointed it right at it, had crosshair, boom, shot him, boy. He talking about a buck and bronc in a creek. That water showered everywhere. Well, he run off over and fell down. And I heard him hit some cane brakes and splashing water across the ridge. So I waited that time that you're supposed to wait, just as quick as you can get over to him.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
yeah, I mean, this is a deal. You could stun him. I've heard of people stunning deer before. Like, hey, I shot him in the head, hit his horn, stunned him, went over to him and looked at him and got up and run off. No. Give him some help. Give him another shot, you know. So I get the deer, and I'm thinking to myself, these jokers ain't coming to get me till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Now, we're talking, we got everything done. You can't shoot but 2 deer a day in North Carolina back then.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be able to kill nothing else. We're talking, it's nearly 7 o'clock. I done killed the 2 I can kill. I'm sitting there going, what am I going to do? Well, I thought I drug the deer over there. I had everything drug up, and I got to like, man, this is a fine white horn, big, heavy horn, 8-point.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, I ain't staying here till no 10 o'clock. So I think I'll hide my gun, hide my backpack, and I'll walk back to the camp. It wasn't that far, about a mile away. And so I thought, man, because I was excited, I killed this deer. And then I got to thinking about them stories, about them deer getting up running off. Well, I got looking at my buck, and the north wind, it was blowing pretty good then. It was blowing about 10 miles an hour. It was blowing, got to blowing. I got to looking at him. I thought, man, all it would take is that old north wind to blow up them nostrils, fill them lungs up on him. He'd liable to have a little more life to him. Mm-hmm. Now, he was in the water when I drug him out. He's dead. But there wouldn't be nothing worse than walking back to camp and come back an hour later and that joker is gone.
Yeah.
So I drug that joker to a tree, slid his horns around the tree, and I took my rope that I would use to pull your gun up in the tree stand. I pulled it out of my backpack, and I tied that joker to the tree. I'm talking about he was tied. He was tied so good you had to cut it with a pocket knife when you got back.
Yeah.
And so I told him about it when I got to the camp. Daddy was there, and I told him, I said, yeah, I tied that thing to a tree. No, you didn't tie him to a tree. I said, oh, yeah, I did. I tied him to a tree.
Did he tie him to a tree?
He tied him to a tree.
What did it look like when y'all walked up?
It looked like it was a rope tying contest. And he won.
That deer was tied up, man. He wouldn't have been able. Hey,
were you in the Boy Scouts?
Well, I tell you,
Royal Rangers.
Royal Rangers, yes, sir. I knew how to tie knots.
Did you tie the bowling knot?
I tied the knife cutting knot. And once that you
bowling, you gonna tie. You know what he tied.
Nah, I scared that thing might
Better have a
learn.
good knife.
That's the throw the rope away after we're done.
That's exactly right. I didn't want him to be able to untie it either. You know what I mean? So, if you ever get one, you worried about him going somewhere or somebody getting him, you make it to where they got to pull their pocket knife out.
So, do you think that deer was far in the woods? Like, he was pretty deep in the woods, huh?
Yeah.
Creek bottom. Could you drove a vehicle up to him? No. Well, that kind of makes me think. So, like, I kind of know of a story of that I want Papa to tell about was a brand new truck.
Oh,
driving through the woods.
The GMC.
Oh, I bought me a new truck.
So
and
I'll lead it up to this, and then because I use your story every once in a while. I got a young boy in the church, and I'll go and give him a shout out if he's listening to it. This will maybe cause him to listen to the podcast. Is one of the kids in my youth. His name is Drew Hobbs, and so it wasn't long ago. Drew gets him a brand new Nissan, and I'm like, hey Drew, man, that's a good looking truck right there. And he says, oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I keep it nice and clean. I make sure I wash it this week and vacuum it out. And he opens the door and says, look how clean it is. I'm like, man, it looks great. It looks wonderful. I said, you got one problem. He said, what? I said, you ain't got no scratches on this thing. And he said, what you mean? I said, I said, the problem is you're going to baby it. I said, but go and do yourself a favor and run that thing off down a little 2-trail road that's overgrown. I said, you'll never regret it. You'll regret it in the moment, but then listen, all that washing and drying and vacuuming goes out the window. You don't have to worry about it no more. Go and let yourself off the hook, run down a 2-trail road. That's what I'm going to tell you. So, but tell us your experience on, because the logic comes from this story.
Yeah.
Well, I had that new truck, and I was kind of like your friend. I was babying it.
Oh, it's a pretty truck, too.
And it was all fancy stuff on it and big tires and wheels. And anyway, I would make the boys get out, and hold the limbs back on the side of the road
Yeah.
to let me drive through because I didn't want to scratch it up. And so one day there was a place that had an old stub limb that was pointing back, kind of angled to the truck, and I guess we didn't see it.
Well, what it was is I remember exactly where it was at because it was over just past the curves on High Point where that road went down, where there was a mud hole. Yeah, and it was like 100 yards long. And so I said, Daddy, what are we going to do? And we're going to hold all that back. We have to wade the water to do it. So
I eased up there to it, and when I started by that stub, I heard that screeching sound. I said, forget about it, boys, and I just took off. And from then on, we didn't hold any limbs back.
yeah, this nothing.
Do yourself a favor. Just drive through the limbs.
Hey, I think you can buff that out usually.
Who wants to buff it out, man? Just do it. I don't. I'll be honest with you, and it's probably not something to be proud of. I ain't washed my truck in a while. It's almost too big to drive through any car washes, and it's too big for me to wash by hand. So I'm about to the point of just it lives on the truck.
You can't get your wife to do it.
No, I have to wash her car once in a while. But we run hers through they can go through the car wash.
Yeah.
They run go through the car wash. So, so let's see. Man, I got there was one. You got one?
Oh, I got one.
Yeah. All right.
So this is great. This is encouragement type stuff. You know, a lot of y'all have hunted places and you'll sit now, especially when the rut's on. Now, Florida's a little different than most places because the rut ain't. I mean, you're not going to rattle one in, and you may not get him in with dough and heat. You know, might every now and then. It just ain't. It's a different place. It's a hard place to hunt, especially hunting the nicer bucks. And so I was hunting right over, not far from where we live at, in a place that a little lease we had, and so this buck was crossing regular, and so I got the pop-up tent. Got it set up in a place. Now, you got to understand, this has only been, Tommy was probably 5 years old. Well, no, he had to be older than that, not like 9, because Johnny was maybe 1 or 2. Anyway, so I went and set this particular spot, put the pop-up tent up. I could watch one road in front of me, and then I could watch this whole big long road that was pretty wide that run down through there. And so I'm sitting there, and it gets on about 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And so I call you Pawpaw up. I said, Dad, look, that joker ain't crossed. I don't even know what to think. He said, son, I looked at the feed times. Them things supposed to move. I just think the best move time is going to be 10 o'clock. And I said, it's 9 o'clock, man. Or it may have been rocked. It may have been 9:30. And you said, because I was going to hunt all day. And Daddy said, why would you cancel? You've already canceled it out this far. Why would you move somewhere else? Why don't you just stay the rest of the time there and just hang in there? And so I thought, man, I think I'll wait. I'll wait till about 10:30. So it must have been 9:30 then. Mm-hmm. The feed time started about 10. And so it wasn't 15 minutes, right, Dad? I mean, it wasn't long. And so he probably didn't even believe me because I called him back up on the phone. Mm-hmm. I said, man, I just killed that big 9-point.
Yeah.
It's 15 minutes after. But if it wouldn't have been for him encouraging me to stay.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the way you go. And I appreciated him for it because he wasn't even hunting, but he was able to kind of live his life through me on the killing part of it.
Yeah.
And then he drove right over there after that. He said, man, I'll be there in a second. Yeah. So it was pretty cool.
So, Pawpaw, you a sit all day kind of guy. I mean, you're the only person I've ever known that'll consistently sit all day. How many deer has it been worth? Because we're a 9 o'clock get out kind of film, which I actually, I made that mistake this past deer season, and I tell you what, it was the biggest mistake of my life. Probably the biggest buck I have ever killed, and I got a 160 on the wall right now, and he was bigger than him.
Yeah.
And I made a mistake, and honestly, if I'd have set 10 more minutes, I'd have killed him. And he's coming. You could have spit on him. He would have been so close. And so, how many times in your life has it been? beneficial to sit longer than those times.
Well, you got a feed time that these deer they're going to feed, and unless somebody runs through the area, bad weather will cause them to move, and I feel like I've been successful from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Just about every time I've killed a deer.
Yeah.
And just, you got to be patient with them.
Yeah.
God's blessed me.
That's right.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
so you say in your mind it's worth sitting longer.
Yes.
Well, I was in Illinois last year, and then do we have any other stories that we want to hit? That
I got a good one.
Okay. What we might do is I might pause for a second, the camera, restart it, and then we'll just go for a few more minutes because then we can extend it. The camera is what really limits a lot. That's a lot on what we're doing. So, but I'll tell this real quick story. We'll stop it, start it, and then we'll finish off about in 50 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It is what we'll get it about 50. So, last year, I'm on my lease in Illinois, and I had nowhere to go. We had just set up. I set my buddy up who's in the lease with me at the time. I had set him up. I thought I had set him up on the prime time. I was like, I want you to kill a big buck. We got you in the best corner of the field, I think. We've had pictures of big bucks walking this. Like, we got you on the money. Well, I spent so much time putting him in the stand that I didn't have a good enough time to find me a spot. So we had walked through the woods, and I thought I found a little game trail, something that was a little better than everything else, and nothing was great to me. And I was like,
but you still felt like he had the better spot.
I felt like he had the better spot, 100%. And I'm fine with that because I had killed a good deer the year before. And so we had set up and set him up, and I was running out of time. He went in and was like, I'm going to go and get in the stand. It was about 2:30, 3 o'clock. So he goes, crawls in the stand. And so what we do then is I go to that spot that he that I had felt I had walked around for a while, and finally was like, this is gonna be as good as it gets. And I did not like that spot so much, and it was so late. It took me so long to finally find that. Just come to the conclusion that's where I wanted to go. So I set the tree stand up in that tree, and I went to hunt till the next morning. He didn't see nothing that night, just a few does. So we come back, we go get in the stands that morning. I don't think he saw anything that morning, or not at that point yet. And I had a camera close to where he was at. And I remember sitting up in my saddle, and I had those 2 does, as you call them, our swing sets. I was sitting up in my swing set, and those 2 does had come down. And I had a buck run the top ridge above me, and I'm in this bottom close to a creek. And here comes the doe. I pull back on her. She's 20 yards. Stop her. She runs so hard. She squared up straight on one of these trees, and she just, boom, hit the tree, flipped over, cut a flip, hit the ground, dead. She's done. Well, I sat there. It was starting to get a little warm. It wasn't as cold as it normally is that time of year, and I expected it to be colder. Well, it's starting to warm up, and we were always a not get out at 9 kind of family, so I was like, and I'm getting tired of sitting there. I mean, in the tree saddle, you stand the whole time. My knees are hurting.
Swing sets.
And so I look at my phone about to get down. I don't know why I didn't just sit, but anyway, I looked at my phone went off. I'm packing my stuff up. I'm getting my stuff putting it all in my backpack. Because I texted him, I said, we need to get this doe out of the woods, and we need to probably because he didn't like his spot, so let's find us some new spots. And so I had set up to where I got my stuff putting it in while my game camera went off. And our target buck, which is the buck I've been talking about, or I'm going to get to, is he's going in the woods right towards him. And I texted him and said, hey, don't get out. Well, he'd already pulled his stuff out the top of the tree, and he resaddles himself up, and he's standing on his sticks. He saddles up, holding against the... And
instead of standing on the platform.
The platform's off.
Yeah.
He's standing on the sticks. Well, he stands on the sticks for a while. Well, for me, I've been sitting there for a while, so he ain't going to come to me. He's going to go up and hit one of these other fields, because he was a good ways away from me. And so I'm like, I'm just going to go and get out. Just go and get this doe out the woods, be waiting. Maybe if he kills him, we'll run over there. I pull all my stuff out the tree. I get all my stuff down and put it on the ground. I'm locking it into my backpack, and I look up, and that buck is standing 30 yards from me.
Wow.
Staring right at me. Tines this tall, big, giant buck just staring right at me. And I tell you what, man, my heart sinks. Because he starts stomping, doing that stomping. He runs off. He was going to come right under my stand, right where them does went, 20-yard shot. biggest buck of my life, and I missed the opportunity. So here, the lesson to learn today is sit the extra 30 minutes.
Yeah.
When you're about to get out, set another 30. It's because you never know. It could be the difference between killing a big buck, going home empty, and going home with something in your hands. So, but I'm gonna pause this for a second. So if you see a pause in our video, we're gonna pause it because we want to extend just a little longer. So just hang on just a second, and we'll be right. We're set. We got our last story, and we were running out of time, and I got a limit on my stuff. So I want to make sure we gave enough time for this last story. I've been anticipating to tell this story to be told, and it's probably one of the coolest stories. So you were hunting our lease. This lease sounds like it was actually it's been a really good lease over the years to us.
It's a lease we've had for about 35 years.
Yeah.
And God's blessed us with that.
And it's close to some highways and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, so it was the highway stand is what we called it.
Yeah.
And so tell us that story, and Dad, you can piggyback whenever certain parts where you're included.
Well, you can hear cars.
Yeah.
The stand
you
was
could
what,
see the
200 yards?
cars.
Yeah, it's 200 yards off the highway.
And that particular day, I had a doe. Well, I heard a truck slow down. And so I was watching, and I didn't realize it to start with, but he had slowed down to keep from running over this doe. And I watched her. She just kind of zigzagged through the woods and came up and stood right in my food plot. And so I sat there, and about 5 minutes later, she walked off, and I heard another car slow down. And so here comes a buck. And this buck followed the same trail that doe had. And he came right up to my stand. I shot him, and he run about 10 yards. So I just was going to sit there a little bit longer. About another 5 minutes, I heard another car slow down.
But now, meanwhile, he had called me.
I called him. I was a little bit impaired, some health issues, and I wanted him to come help me get that deer out of the woods. And so I think I told him, just hold on just a minute.
Yeah, you heard another car slow down.
And so I looked, and here comes another buck.
Now, the phone's still on. It's set beside his leg.
Right. And that first deer was a 6-point. It was a nice 6-point. And so I look up, and here comes another buck. And he came and stood right where the 6-point had been standing. And it was an 8-point. And I shot him. And so Scott's still on the phone listening to all that's going on.
Yeah.
And I said, you're going to have to come help me get both of these out of the woods.
You done killed them both.
Man.
So that was really cool the way that all worked out.
I love that. I love that. That's so good. Well, today, as we conclude this podcast, I want to actually take just a second as we have you on the podcast, because though you're a really good hunter, and as we conclude the 2 episodes we just completed, which is episode 3 and then now episode 4, I want you to really, if you can do it, and however much time you need to do it. You have had multiple myeloma cancer, and you're in remission, and the Lord's really walked you through that. And I got a story of a guy that I had some people laugh at me not long ago. I played a little disc golf in my time, throwing some frisbee golf, and I had a guy. I was someone not too long ago. I'd actually use this as a testimony because he had a family member who passed away due to an illness, and he was saying, well, what was their purpose? What was God's intent behind them going through that in their whole life? I think they had like cerebral palsy or something, and why would God do that? And how could they ever fulfill a purpose being sick? And I said, well, let me tell you a story of my granddad. And I kind of walked him through, and I had a guy when I was playing frisbee golf. His name was Tommy as well. And he was wearing a hat. You had these hats designed that said, please excuse me or forgive me, I have chemo brain. And I was playing frisbee golf with this guy, and all of a sudden, like, you've been going to Arkansas for years, for
12 years.
12 years. And I remember named Tommy, and he, as we're playing, I noticed his hat said, "Please forgive me, I have chemo burn." I only ever knew one hat had been made that said that. And I said, surely there's not another person, same color, same font, same, it's just the hat. And I looked at him and I said, "Hey man, I said, I see your hat. Where did you get that hat?" And he said, "Oh, there's a guy in Arkansas that I had met in Arkansas that he gave me this hat." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Is his name by chance Tommy Riley?" He said, "Yeah, that's his name." I said, "Well, that's my granddad." And so you met this man in Arkansas, from what I gather, and though you're from the same town, and y'all had never met, I'm assuming, before this, he was wearing that hat. And so it let me know that even though you were in Arkansas, God was still able to move, though it might not have been at home in another place. God used maybe like this, though we may not have saw it in the moment. Can you give me a little insight on how that maybe had been a tool rather than though it maybe was really tasking on your body? How many opportunities have you had?
It's just been countless opportunities. And I remember one time when I was praying about the cancer that I have. It's a cancer, it's a bone marrow cancer, and there is no cure for it except for God. But in my praying, I said, "Why me, God?" And it wasn't just instantaneous. About 30 seconds later, it was like he said, "Why not you?"
Wow.
Said, "I'm going to do what I can with it, God." And he's placed people in our lives. A man that long story short, we had a break-in of 23 vehicles at our motel out there, and they busted the driver's window out of all the vehicles and was stealing. And the man that replaced the window in our truck, he wouldn't know what I was doing in Arkansas. And so I told him, and he said, "You're a long way from home." I said, "Yeah, but this is where I'm supposed to be." Wow. And after a while, he got real quiet, and after a little while, he said, "My wife has ovarian cancer." I thought, wow, God, you've put this man in my life, you know. And he eventually, over the time, he started calling me Pop. Mm-hmm. And so I stayed in touch with him, told him we would be praying. And within a year, I talked with him, and he said his wife was cancer-free.
Man.
Wow.
And it wasn't just me praying. Mm-hmm. I'm in a support group for myeloma, and those people believe like I do. God is the healer.
Yes.
And so, you know, it was people like that they'd want to call you, talk with you, and I was able to encourage people.
Yeah.
I still, you know, have that cancer in my body, but that cancer doesn't have me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my.
Yeah. God has me.
Yeah.
And whatever it takes. Let me add one little thing here. I gave my testimony in our church, and God had impressed me to say that this was not just for Tommy Riley to grow. It was for somebody else. And it was like he said, "I want you to tell them that at the end of the testimony." So I did, and about 2 weeks later, me and my wife were in Winn-Dixie. She heads to produce, and I'm headed to the meat department. And there's a lady down that aisle, and she just kept watching me. And finally, she came up to me and said, "Where do you go to church?" And I told her. She said, "I was in that service, and you made a statement that if for somebody else." She said, "I'm that somebody."
My goodness.
Oh.
And I'm standing in the aisle at Winn-Dixie crying. knowing that God has used me again. Why he chose me, I don't know. I feel like there's people that maybe can handle all this better than I can. But I will use this testimony to encourage anybody that I can. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be cancer. It can be any sickness. It can be a disruption in your family life. Yeah. But I encourage you to reach out to God. He can and will take care of your situation.
Yeah. I was talking to that youth member of mine, and he was tore up. He said, I told him, I said, man, because I tell him all the time, I said, buddy, I'm proud of you. And I try to make sure that if I create a good relationship with these kids, I want them to know I love them. Yeah, I'm not here because this is a job for me. This is, if I wanted to, this is more than a job. This is more than a paycheck. This is so much more important to me. And I always tell him, I said, man, I'm proud of you. Yeah, God's got a purpose and plan for your life. Right. Don't give up on yourself. Yeah. And so there was that conversation we're having. He says, well, what was her purpose? If God's got a purpose for everybody, what was her purpose? I said, you never know. Well, God was able to speak through her and give someone encouragement. You never knew if she had, if she had a smile on her face. And I watched this video the other day, and a guy had cerebral palsy, which is actually very similar to the sickness that this youth member's cousin had. And he was up there and he was preaching the gospel, and he could barely get his words out. And he said, God called me and to preach. And he said, when God called me, I said, well, God, I can't preach. I've got cerebral palsy. He said, I felt like the Lord told me, oh, you do?
Oh, wow.
You have, I didn't know. Yeah. He said, I felt like God told me that. And he said, but to this day, and he's trying to get his words out, but he's preaching, and it's just, but in that moment, he said, I'm the person for the job. Yes. And he says that, and he said, and he had used a word like, I have cerebral palsy. What's your reason why? Why can't you? Man. And so, but when he said that, but also in that point is that you never know what your testimony, the Bible says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. Yes. And I've said this before, is that though your testimony it helps you overcome. Yeah. Because it reminds you of where you've come from, and understanding that you can overcome the next thing in your path because God's been faithful before. Absolutely. He'll be faithful again. Yeah. So we overcome by the blood of Jesus because we're saved by his blood and his grace. Yeah. But also, we overcome by the testimony. And see, the thing is what you don't realize is that though your testimony helps you overcome what may lie in your path ahead, and also may, by sharing it, may help someone overcome something in their life and help them acquire a testimony for them. And so, though some may look and say, what a cruel God to give someone cancer, that's such a good man, is so loving, is such a family man, but yet it has been such an opportunity to spread the gospel. And so I would say this, is today, if you have no hope, and you're wondering what the next step has to hold and what's going to come out of this sickness or this trial and this season of life for you, I want you to know that don't waste the opportunity. That's it. For it to be for you to spread the gospel, to spread the love of Jesus, and to inspire somebody to get to know him more. And so I think that's a damn right. Okay. All right. We'll do that.
Hey, first off, I want to say this. Daddy, I love you.
I love you.
And I thank you for all you've done. I look at over the years, I think about he's always been there. I remember my brother said this when he gave his heart to Jesus. He said this. He said, I knew this, and he would run from God for 20 years. He said, I knew where my parents were all the time. Not meaning what church they were at, but they never changed. They were still very consistent, and their belief was the same. So he knew what to come back to, and that was a great thing. So I love you, Dad. I appreciate you. I love you pouring into me when it's outdoors.
I love you. I'm so glad to be able to do this.
Yes, thank you for being on here.
So before we close out, if you've been listening today you've been inspired by some of the stuff we've said, if you wonder what's different about us, I just want you to know it's what dwells within our hearts, and that's the Holy Spirit that dwells within us, because we've accepted the gift that Jesus gave on the cross, which is the gift of eternal life, the gift of salvation, the gift of forgiveness. And I want you to know that that gift is yours today. Freedom can be yours today. Salvation can be yours today. And if you've been inspired, then find an opportunity to take time with the Lord and give your heart to Him. Find a good church body to get plugged into and have a community. The Bible says, don't forsake the assembling of the brethren. The Bible says that two is better than one and three is better than two. So make sure you find people to surround yourself with.
Right.
And to do life with and walk with, to be encouraged. That's our job, is to encourage one another. And so today, if you were inspired, give the Lord an opportunity to have an introduction with you. Dad, I want you to close us out. I want you to pray over the people and pray that they have an opportunity with the Lord, and that God, that they be open, but also pray a blessing over our listeners. And just close us out in prayer today.
Lord, we thank you for this day. I thank you for this opportunity to be on this platform with my son and my dad. God, I ask you to just touch each one, God, that's watching this today. Lord, maybe they feel a little something different about what they're hearing. But Lord, let them see that we're just real people, that we love Jesus, and we love the outdoors, and we love the opportunity to share with others. I ask you, Lord, just to touch my dad today, touch his body. Lord, I ask you just to continue just enabling him to keep going, God. God, I ask you to just bring healing to his body and his life. My mom the same way. Touch her and her body. God, I ask you to just help us, as we age, certain ailments come along. Lord, I ask you to just touch each and every listener and viewer out there today, that they're able to see something different in us, something that they're attracted to. I ask you to go with us and keep us, and I thank you in this season. Help us, Lord, as we go. Bless us as we walk with you. I thank you. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
We're so glad y'all came by today. We're so glad that you're listening on the podcast. Hey, if you don't want to miss an episode, if you don't want to miss the giveaway that we got coming up in a couple weeks, the information will be released on the podcast, be released on our social medias as well. So make sure to tune in. Make sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Make sure to like our page on Facebook, and also go follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Turn on your notifications so you don't ever miss an episode. We're so glad you came by. So glad you visited with us. And don't be a stranger.
Yes, and we have enjoyed this.
Amen.
And what he said, because I don't know nothing about all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks. So it's been fun.
It has been.
I enjoyed
wonderful.
it.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See y'all.